In addition to talking about social science every time we go through a module, we'll also be talking about some solutions to global problems that come not just via sciences, but also through specific types of strategies that are being used to address the big problems we're talking about. I'm going to introduce that right now. Know, though, that today we're not going to be talking specifically about a kind of solution. Instead, I'm just going to be introducing the idea of solutions to you. Now, the reason that this is embedded as a part of the course is because one of the official course outcomes in Geography 101 is to reflect critically on how global problems are related to important social issues and on possible solutions to these problems. So this is actually part of the course design, in addition to the other things that we're going to be doing in the course, which you can read in the course outcomes here. This is also available via the syllabus as well. Now, the reason that problems and solutions are linked together in this course is because Geography 101 can be a bit of a bummer, actually. We'll go from one region to another region of the world, and while we're looking at the regions themselves, we're also talking about some pretty grave problems. And so it seems really important to discuss solutions while we do those problems, or else people get a pretty unfair view of the world as it just being laden with difficult things. We'll discuss a range of different types of solutions to the problems of what we can generally refer to as problems of development and underdevelopment around the world. There'll be all sorts of different types of solutions. We'll have a lot of time to talk about some specific types of non-governmental organizations that offer different forms of solution. These will include holistic development, direct development, and single solution development. I'll talk about each of those in turn. We'll also talk a little bit about the role that governments can play in solving solutions around the world, and we'll talk somewhat about trade. Near the end of the course, we'll also talk a little bit about disaster relief, which is a form of solution to problems, especially when we're talking about disasters. We'll look at all sorts of different organizations. Now, I'm going to focus on just a couple examples because I don't have time to talk about all the different organizations that are out there. I consider you to look for other examples and in fact share them with me if you have the opportunity to you. Near the end of the course, we'll talk a little bit more specifically about the issue of effectiveness in solving global problems. There are lots of great organizations out there, but there are also a lot of organizations that don't really do what they're supposed to do. And so we'll talk a little bit about how we might think about how well organizations do the jobs that they're supposed to. And this is something you might not have thought about very much before. You might have thought about a problem and a solution to it and liked what an organization did, but did you ever really try to study carefully how effectively that organization does its work? So that's something we'll come back to later on in the course, which students generally like to think about at least a little bit. Now, the whole reason this is a part of this course and solutions are part of the course goes back to that issue that I just mentioned in the GERs in the Introduction to Geography and the Social Sciences. And that is that this course should be getting you to think about how we do solve problems and how you as an individual can be engaged in helping to think about solutions to the big problems as a citizen and also as a professional in whatever career you might ultimately follow. So I hope that one of the things that Geography 101 does get you to do in the future is to think a little bit about how you can best engage as a responsible citizen and be part of the solution to problems. So that's all for this first social science thinking assignment. In future lectures, there'll be a little bit more content, but right now we're just really exploring some basic stuff and getting introduced to the course.